hoping, oh, hang on, got it. Just hoping we don't go down with it. So we're keeping apart.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Fingers crossed.
That's right. Fingers crossed. That's all we can do.
What's that you've got behind you? It looks, is it a mirror or what? I can see it.
No, that's all my sewing stuff. Yeah, I'm upstairs in my craft room now.
Yeah, I'm down in the bedroom, so I hope it keeps working.
You've got a monkey hanging around as well.
Yeah. Cheer us up.
That's that Gordon again, monkeying around.
Yeah. I've taken it away.
Oh, have you?
I think they're talking about your picture behind you, Chris.
Morning. Oh, my monkey.
Yeah.
Oh, that monkey. Oh, right, yeah.
Who's that? Joyce appeared. Hello, Joyce.
Morning. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Morning. Oh, I'll put you on. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
How is everyone? How's Anne?
I'm a little bit better, thank you, Joyce.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Yeah,
lovely.
A little bit better. Just got to fight these steroids now.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
But
Carol's,
hopefully they're working.
I hope so. And Carol's in a different location.
Yes, well, I had to get Peter up early, so rather than you keep disturbing him, I've come down in the bedroom.
Right. I thought you don't feel like sort of stretching out on the bed or anything then?
Well, no, I might get too comfortable.
Absolutely.
I did it last night. I thought I feel all but weird. So I just it must be about 8:30. I just thought, oh, cobblers, I'll lie on the bed. Next thing I watch cartoon that was on the telly. So I just sat there. Next thing I know, it's about, must have been 10:30, 11:15, and the dog's licking me.
Oh no. Oh, bless.
Well, you must have been tired.
I was zonked, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's because I take him out for a walk, well, around the recreation ground, the cricket ground, around the road, and I end up running around it. I think I'm
the training for the marathon, that's what it is.
Slowly pulling. I used to do it a lot. I used to run all around the marsh with the other dogs twice every day, which is like miles. I just get up at 5:30, take one.
Morning, Pauline.
Back and get the other one out.
Morning.
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 How is everybody? All right, yes.
Pauline.
Good, thank you.
You?
Well,
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. Oh, that's good.
All present.
Yeah.
Gordon's got a quizzical look on his face. What's
I
going
was just going to say that he's puzzling about something.
Shutting down Task Manager. It's using my hard drive to work the computer at the moment.
all high tech
Yeah, terrible.
malarkey?
Yeah.
What is it a lovely day for? Can't see on your jumper, Gordon.
Guinness.
Oh, Guinness. Oh, yes.
Good thing about today's going to be an early lunch.
Yeah, we don't believe you anymore.
I kind of don't believe myself anymore.
That's good. Whose is that?
Yes.
That's
And
Mrs. Coleman's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's nice, like it.
I'm ashamed. Everyone's better than mine. Everyone else is mine.
No, I don't think mine is.
Oh, mine. I just had a simple week this week.
Yeah, I had a bit of a rush on. So.
Yeah.
I despair. I know I did despair, but I thought, well, I've got to keep try and do something. Just kept going on and on and on. That was well, that's charming, that, isn't it?
That's a nice one.
I
I like the circular one.
Yeah.
That's Carol's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Carol.
That was good.
I just wanted an easy week, so I thought, right, I'll I cut the paper down so it's not stiff.
Good
what I could-
thinking.
Very
as
nice.
the weeks progressed, I can't fathom it out because I'm like looking at it as a major piece of artwork, and everybody else is going, oh, I enjoyed doing that. It was a nice. I think
Yeah.
everyone's seen something in it that I haven't.
Oh
That's
dear.
it on the board, and I trimmed it down a bit, and I thought it looked
Yeah, lovely.
quite
Mm.
through
Very
the
nice.
porthole. I like that idea.
Mhm.
Mm,
I don't know where you got that from, but it works.
Mm.
I think I might do some more.
Very nice.
Could do all
Yeah.
different shapes, couldn't we? Depending what we're
Yeah.
drawing.
Mm.
That's like going back to play school with the round window
Pentangle.
and the archway.
Yeah, square,
You have all, yeah, it's all
triangle.
Yeah,
Mm.
Food for thought, isn't it? See,
Mm.
something always comes out of these meetings, doesn't it? Different.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
that's nice. Yeah,
Mm.
That's Chris's, is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
He
Oh.
looks like a proper worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Mm.
I remember thinking, oh, is that my jacket he's got on? I got one. I don't wear a belt, so he ain't got that. Definitely got probably nicked me green cap.
Could be you at a distance, couldn't it?
Yeah. Is that, oh, that was my one in the end.
That's
Yeah.
softer.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Who's
He
this?
looks awfully relaxed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very good.
Mhm.
Much softer.
Mm.
Well, it is, yeah. No, I don't know. It's one of those. I'll put it back in the
In the to-do list pile.
yeah, in the, maybe I could work a bit more on it. But one thing I did, it was all about different techniques, and trying to get the result that I was had in my mind's eye, and I got sort of, I don't know, 7/10 of the way through it, and I sort of not thrown in the towel, but I thought, well, on another brighter day we might do some more. But one of the things I was doing, I used a white
Is that it?
watercolor pencil and drew white lines here and there,
Mhm.
and then put a dark line on top of it, moist, and let it flow in to give it that sort, because these sticks have all got like white on them and then brown reflective on top. So that was an interest. So I did learn something out of it. I did loads of different things. I tried painting the branches white and then dragging stuff on. Oh, it was ridiculous amount of effort. But like you say, you learn something, don't you? If only that ain't that's not my best subject. The annoying thing about it is, out in the back garden, I've got hazel twigs growing up. I went and cut them down Sunday. It must have been a portent. Thinking that's it. Oh,
That's
buggered off
nice.
the picture.
That's nice. Yeah. Who's is
Yeah,
that?
it's lovely. Gordon.
Gordon.
Right.
Oh,
That was quite clever because it looks like there's a field behind him as well. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sky turned out nice.
That's good. Yeah.
I love the sky, yeah.
Well, we were saying last week this is a Gordon picture, and
Mm.
Yeah.
I was,
The green Dave is actually cling filmed.
yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's food for thought. Food for no. Guess that's a bit of a wrap. Isn't it? Ah, dear,
Yeah, the cling film technique doesn't work very well on acrylic.
I don't suppose it would, no.
just
Never
dries
gets
off
off
and
again.
sticks there. I suppose.
Yeah.
Suppose you could crumple it up and put it down, stick it down with a bit of white, so it's still it'll stick there, and then when it dries hard, paint over the top of that.
Oh, I could.
3-dimensional.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Lovely.
Very bright for watercolors as well, which is
I was just thinking, yeah, it could almost be an acrylic.
I couldn't, I wouldn't do it.
yeah, that's true. And then this morning in
That's
comes
right,
the
Yeah.
game.
That's got to be Joyce.
Yeah,
Here comes in came a game changer. I thought, wow. Oh, and what was it? She said something about, oh, it's a nice, relaxing job. That I enjoyed that. I thought, oh,
I called him Gabriel because he reminded me of a Thomas Hardy book.
yeah.
Hiding crowd.
Yes,
Gabriel
It was
Oakes.
Gabriel, wasn't it?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Joyce's stuff. It's like how to take all the floss and junk out of a picture and just put the stuff in.
I remember that.
Just wanna,
That rabbit droppings on the ground.
Actually, from this distance, it does look a bit like that. Yeah, it was supposed to be some woodland flowers, you know.
Oh, right. Sorry.
yeah, they're buried.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
Thank you.
I didn't notice until it was beyond caring that there was a fence post in the back of the picture, you know, in the background.
Yeah, there was.
Well, I never noticed that.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, there was one right on the where that one is that Joyce has done.
Right.
It was faint.
Are you sure it's a fence post and not the bloke's hammer?
Hammer.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, he's laying a hedge.
Yeah.
I thought that was the style of a hammer.
Could be, yeah.
I zoomed in on it.
Ah, right.
Pauline,
Look at this one.
that's
She,
nice.
I had to rush it. It wasn't very good. And I thought,
It is, and I didn't like it at all.
then
Oh.
I said, well, at least it's a lot better than mine. She said, you're just saying that. And I'm thinking,
I think we all quite enjoyed that one, really.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah, it was very daunting, all those blinking
Yeah.
sticks.
that's what Chrissy said. Yeah, that's what you said, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Flipping sticks.
lemon sticks. But then I suppose I did try and put them all in, which was a bit ambitious.
Overall, I think it was a really good exercise for that point of view.
Yeah, very good.
Even mine's starting to grow on me.
they're all different, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. There was a lady on talking of stuff. Well, I remember there was someone on. Chrissy might have saw it on Facebook saying, "Does anyone wanted someone to do a friend of hers portraits of her children or one of her, or something like that?" So and nobody was answering. So I put up, well, we were always looking for subjects for our art book, and you can probably get a choice of 5 or 6 and choose the one you like.
Oh no.
We're all away that week, aren't we?
Yeah, whenever it is, we're not here.
Yeah.
No, there wouldn't be no pressure, is it? Because it's no different to any other week if you don't.
No. So did she reply to you?
Not as yet.
Not as yet.
But I did send the link to our gallery online, so there's no way anyone can look at that and think, well, there's got to be something. I don't know. The trouble is, I remember looking at the person that posted the question own profile, and she does really nice portraits of kids anyway. So I copied and pasted one of her own pictures back on and said, look, have a chat with this woman, she's pretty good.
I guess she still didn't reply.
She sort of came back something along the lines of, yeah, mine aren't quite bright enough. And I'm thinking, crikey, they're really bright, they're refined. Well, each to their own. As for today's subject, I've lost sight of the reality, I think. That one, hang on. I can't remember what I called it now. Yeah, people put these blooming pictures up on Facebook, and I think, that'd be good. We'll have a go at that. Oh dear. Using it as a resource, which that was it cropped up. I cropped it. It's quite funny when you crop things like that because it shows a different. It changes the perspective, doesn't it? You know? So even though that was the original picture, so just looks like some sort of pier thing there, doesn't it?
Bit like.
Yeah.
I can't. Right.
I like the other one better, do you? The cropped one.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Yeah, I like that.
It's the same picture as just chop the two sides off and that bow.
I can do a nice square, couldn't I?
Where was it?
Yeah.
Well, I sometimes feel a little bit guilty that some of the subjects tend to be more suited towards watercolor. So every so often one comes up that's definitely down the acrylic route, and I think that's for Chrissy, you know.
You're so kind.
I do, yeah. Well, balances the payload, and it taxes us the same way that you get pressured as well.
Yeah.
Let's
I guess.
balance it up, make it fair for everyone. But I ain't got a clue how. Oh, it's really gone. I ain't got a clue how to paint it. Well,
We've got no chance then.
No,
it's not so much that. It's
getting the colours right.
That doesn't frighten me, but I mean, I'm not. It's just the thing that it's the workflow. You know, do you do it? There's sort of 3-4 different ways you can do it. Well, the obvious one right from the start is to sketch the tree and then mask it out. And off you go. Well, you mask out all the big branches. I think if I was doing it as a commission or somewhere along those lines, that's probably what I'd do. But then again, do you?
I'd do all the background and then put that on last.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah, but you can do that in acrylic because you've got more of an opaque thing. I'm going to try a halfway different approach, really, to see what happens. But we'll see.
Did it say where the picture was? Because it looks a bit like
Christchurch Harbour, doesn't it? Or Poole Harbour.
Yeah, it looks like up on the top of the heath at Rockley Sands, looking across to Brownsea. And that looks like the Lake Pier, doesn't it?
Those are houses in the background, aren't there?
Where?
Houses.
Houses. If you adjust it on your graphic equalizer, should we say, on the phone, you can get houses out in the back there.
Oh.
That long strip of black is actually houses.
Is it?
What's the ones at the front? Are they?
I think they're boats at the front, but near that pier, aren't they? So
No, the jaggedy bits on the front look like rocks or boulders.
Yeah.
I can't see any houses though.
No, we haven't got to put them in, have we?
No.
No.
I'm staring at
But
it.
I did draw a house.
I can't see houses either.
No.
No.
Oh, well, we'll leave that to you, Gordon. You can do that.
No, I'm not going to put them there. Turn all the lights off, I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
Excuse my rudeness, David. I'm going to disappear because I can't sit down. I've got a back problem at the moment.
Oh,
I'm
so
going
bad,
to
is it?
I'm going to go walking around the garden and doing things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Gordon.
I can't see houses there either.
He's got a vivid imagination, don't worry.
Hang on. Let's control. It's all right. I'm doing something. Now, if you zoom right in, it pixelates. I think
That's what it is.
it's sort of, well, sort of, hang on. I'll share this one and you can make your own mind up.
Oh, I keep seeing the dog going backwards and forwards. Oh,
Oh,
I can see pixels. There might be
yeah,
something around here.
I
no,
don't think
can't
so.
see.
I can't think, knowing Poole Harbour quite well, I can't, there's no built up
no.
area.
It's not Poole Harbour.
Oh, I thought you said it was Poole Harbour.
No, I agreed with what you said that it probably
Beg your
No.
pardon. Sorry.
does look a bit like that, but there's
Yeah.
no way it's Poole Harbour. It's the guy that posted the picture. He posts pictures from all over the, picture of the day from Taiwan, China,
All right.
type pictures. I don't
Uh-huh.
think Poole Harbour comes into his psyche somehow. Well, you never know.
There were some pretty amazing ones, photographs of the sunsets the other night, wasn't there?
It was a
I've
good one
seen them
last
on
night.
different photographic
Mm.
groups. There were some beautiful sunsets over Poole.
Yeah.
Real golden colours. Right. So
Off we go.
Let's have a laugh and
indeed.
spotlight that. I'll change my microphone and I'm going to go splish, splash, splosh, and anything can happen.
Oh, right now I've got to try and get it on the main screen again. Oh, okay. Oh, I've done it. That was good. Amazing.
Mental note. Make a mental note. What you've
Yes.
done.
I think I did.
Okado Day today.
Okado, eh?
I just noticed the lorries, vans just turned up. Can usually mean that I get nice surprises. My camera's gone wonky here. Been photographing stuff to put on eBay or something. Difficult to know which way to move it because the camera that I use is actually upside down.
Oh.
To give the right way, to give the image the right way up, work that way.
That's better.
Rotated round.
That's better.
I sketched it. We've got I sketched a tree, but I'm thinking, that's going to be a laugh. What I was going to say, I put some boats in. So before we put any water and start splish splashing about, just a reminder. Let me get a bit of paper, a blankish bit. I'll use a black pen if it'll work. Oh, not that one. Not a Sharpie. You can't draw. Drawing with a Sharpie is interesting, but it's not the. Just want something black, really. Biro. Use a biro. There's a thing. Yeah, why not? Use a biro. Ballpoint pen. That'll do. It just shows up better, doesn't it? Boats. Remember? Figure of 8. Remember the figure of 8?
No.
See that?
Yeah, I don't remember it, but
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I do. I was trying to do it, but
I
Well,
remember.
you draw the figure of 8, yeah?
Right.
And find that whichever one you want, but you find the middle of one, draw a line down, yeah? Da-da.
right, yeah.
You can join a straight line from that one to that one. Then, ta-da.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Then one from the back. Join it up, and you've got a nice little boat.
Very good.
You can stick and then you can tighten it up and do whatever you like with it. Gives you the round of back and everything. That's the classic one. What was it? Hang on. The other way. Oh, another variant. I'm not very. I'm not very good at doing the figure of eight. So I think to draw the figure of eight, you should do it upright. You know, up the other way.
Yeah.
Try and do it horizontal, sort of
It didn't work.
against the grain. I think as well,
Yeah.
what you can do, if you draw a line of one from the middle of the 8, then you can draw another little circle, another line, and form the back of the boat, and then join them up, and you get like a boat with a back. Yeah, there's the back of the boat. There's the front of the boat. Stick some oars in it and a couple of people, and off you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's if you want to put a boat in. So.
Right. Looks easy, but
Well, I've just tried it. And mine
I-
doesn't look like a boat.
no, I've just
Need to practice on that one.
But like I say, it might be easier to draw the
think-
figure of 8
Yeah.
vertically, and then, but all you got to remember is take a line from the middle of the 8, draw it down, and away you go. Join it up and you get your boat. This one's got a really strong prow on it, but it takes all the angst out of it. Then you can put a back in it and leave that in. Put a stick up the middle, and away you go.
Very good.
Mm,
Looks simple.
yeah, it's not bad.
Mine don't look anything like.
No, mine doesn't.
My third one's looking a bit better.
Yeah,
Need a bit
it does
more practice.
There is an ebook by a bloke called, I don't know if he's Ukrainian, but he's definitely not English. I think he moves around. It might be Norwegian actually. It's Alec, I think. I'll send you the link. I think it was about $15 or something, but it's an ebook and it's quite a long book. Quite a lot of tips and tricks in there. One of them was drawing the boat. I remember, even though I remember that from years gone by, doing it myself anyway. Right, let's have a look.
Right, give up on the boats.
Talking of boats, yeah. So anyway, what I'm going to try, because I'm in my palette, I've got that. Remember that rose madder that I'm always getting angry about. So no, permanent rose in it or something. So what I'm going to do quickly is make a thin. I'm just spraying water in it, clean water, because it's so strong. My plan, well, my thinking is using that. I'm gonna just look at. Take this stupid glove off. I don't know why I've got. Oh, I know, because I was playing the guitar. I use it to play the guitar. Why would you play the guitar wearing gloves, Dave? Ah, well, because the neck of the guitar is wood, and it's varnished. But if you wear the glove, it slips up and down the wooden varnish really quickly. There's no stiction. That's my thought behind it. Anyway, this is to say this is a bit of a. I don't think I've never seen anyone do this before, which is either because I'm bloody smart and they're not, which I doubt, or it don't work anyway. Well, the thinking was that if I, or is, my plan is if it's, because it's permanent rose, and I know from experience when I've not liked the picture and I've used this color in the picture and then I thought, oh, I'm going to go and stick it in the bath and wash it all out. The one thing that doesn't come out, or it stains the paper so much, it don't come out. You can't get rid of it, and it will still be there for the second, third attempt at the picture. So I figured, I'm going to dry it off with a hairdryer anyway. So my thoughts were, you can see where I'm going, that if I dry it off, I don't care if it smudges or moves around a bit, but rather than using masking fluid, I should be able to visualize or still be able to see the outline of where the tree is. That's all, nothing flash. I've got pencil lines. I'm just using the rigger now to put in some of the thinner ones.
It could be a genius idea.
No, I just didn't want to lose them.
No.
I spent, quite a few minutes drawing a sketch, trying to get it flipping tree looking half decent. Well, it wasn't the thing about the tree. It has a distinct shape. Like it's, what's the one? Oh, Terry Harrison. Yeah, it was Terry Harrison, no, it's not Terry. There's another Harrison anyway, and he did a watercolor tips how-to book years ago. Don Harrison it was. Nice bloke. He was fairly local as well, Poole. And one of his things in his book was highlighting how to paint and draw trees. I think you probably recall that I said this before, and his analogy was compared them to ladies' hairdos. The shape,
Yeah, it does look a bit like my hair when I get up in the morning.
Yeah, you could be a willow. A willow, if it's long, when it's long and thin. You had it cut anyway, didn't you?
I did have it cut. This is true.
I didn't. I do notice ladies having haircuts occasionally. Steph had hers done on Steph's packed lunch. I noticed yesterday. I usually notice that I know it sounds rude, but I usually notice it when it looks daft or it's radically different to what it was the day before. They TV presenters, aren't they? They tend to try and do different things every day to make it, to make you keep your interest, I suppose, aren't you? And they got a justify paying the woman that does the makeup and all the rest of it. Right, I'm going to dry it with a hairdryer.
You're in a different room, Carol.
Yes, well, I had to get Peter up early, so I'm in the bedroom.
Oh, right.
Wow. I dropped the picture. Ooh, bending down gets harder as you get older. Or was it? Frank gets further away. That's what it is.
You're only a baby.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Right. I think next stage, I could use my big posh brush, couldn't I? I'm just going to wet the whole of the thing. Get that out of the way. You stand up there a minute.
Have you tried this before? Otherwise, we're
Don't try this at home.
No. Been dying to use that brush, hadn't they?
Well, it's got really light hairs on it. So that was thinking.
Your tree's running a bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking, well, does it really matter? Matter than a spring hair?
Gosh. What yellow is that? That's bright.
I was thinking rose madder.
Yeah.
This is yellow.
It's yellow.
It does look a bit yellow. Which is
It's,
true.
I don't know if I've got one that bright. God.
It's I think it's Terry Harrison's golden yellow type thing.
Oh, I haven't got that though.
Autumn gold, something like that. I'll just spray
Nice
that.
colour.
This is supposed to be a fun picture today. I'm not getting. If you've got one of these big brushes, it can give you a nice even wash.
I might have a paintbrush somewhere, but house painting.
Mm.
To,
I bought a couple to do that, but not as half the size of that.
it'll be the bristles will be too strong.
Too strong, yeah.
Oh, will
That's
they? Oh.
That's what you'll
Like,
find.
I'll wipe out the tree.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind it smudging and moving around. It wasn't that. It was just to keep it from disappearing from view entirely for later on when I want to put some. Look, I haven't got no plan on this. Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking of. Oh, yeah, over this side, the yellow's much stronger. So all I'm doing is putting a blob of yellow on, and then either spraying it and using this big brush just to lightly go over it. What you could do, and I mean, that's the answer, isn't it? Before, don't draw anything. Just paint the whole flipping paper yellow first.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's always the way of this game, isn't it? As you're painting, you suddenly realise how you should be painting it. What I'm going to try and do is take off some paint just around this area before I just using a clean brush, damp brush. This paper is very rough paper, so all the paint's going swish straight into the. I want to get that area. Looking for smooth, really. Being watercolors as well, it's all going to fade back, isn't it? So don't be afraid to whack some color on it. I think while it's still damp, actually I might spray it a little bit. Being that it's such strong paper, rough paper, it'll they call it soak the water up quite quickly, I think. Maybe not that big brush for that. It's just a bit of the rosy madder stuff. I've just noticed that there is a hint of blue at the top as well. So I've forgotten about that. I'm just going to do it in stages as well. Layers, I think is the term. Oh, we're going for an early lunch.
Well, we might. We'll just leave you to it.
Oh dear.
It can be so harsh sometimes.
Oh dear.
Is it too early to go now?
Scrubbing away here.
If we put all the colours in first, like that, then draw the tree. Is that what
Could
you
do.
said?
Yeah, it might be worth. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it.
That's what I said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well,
Do the tree last, but anyway, that's different because it's acrylic, I know.
Yeah.
yeah, but the thing about it is, I didn't want the tree to sit out too proud. I wanted it to form part of the picture, the base of it, and well, you know, the early structure of it. I'm just using, as the paper's dry, as it's drying off, just using some of that Alzerian crimson, rose madder, whichever whichever crimsony pinky color you've got. Just tighten it off. Gordon spoiled my head now by saying there's houses there, because as it's drying, I'm seeing little lines. I think, could be a house that, but it looks like I'm mucking about. But I'm actually putting in, because if I'm looking at my image, I'm using the dark of the pink to just to point out where some of the shadows are. I'm not having anything over this side anyway, so I'm fine about that. It's good exercise, this, in splish splash sploshing color everywhere.
Mm.
And when you get, gonna have to stop it. The hard bit's going to be later on anyway with the tree. What I am going to do, while I think about it, so I'm going to take that brush back, stick on the tissue, and try and lift some of this color off the top. Ooh, come back. See how wet it is? It's still lifting off quite well. Only so I can put a bit of blue in. That should do it. But I'm going to have to put a little bit of extra crimson back there. Otherwise, yellow and blue make green, which we're not too keen on. Layers, I think, is the secret of this type of picture. Dry it off now. It does give a really nice gentle of water. You don't need to press on it, it's just because it's like a film, it's very clever. But it does have a use. I was a bit worried when I did it, in case when I saw it, I thought, crikey, I'm never going to paint a picture big enough to utilise it. I know later on when I was, one of the colours, one of Gordon's favourites, coming up towards the end, indigo. He likes that.
Yeah, he does like indigo, yeah.
I was thinking about it. I thought, what colour would suit, you know, for some of the darks? And I thought, I know, would get some indigo in there. I think this blue I'll be using is looking a bit. I don't know. I've lost the picture now. Oh no, there it is. What I want is a more of a bluey Oh, that's not too bad. Stick local, colour wise, that is. Blue and some of that pinky purple colour. Hopefully I'm still soaking wet. Nah, it's more blue. More blue, mate. Might be useful later on. Just wanted to add a bit of. You wait till Christine Besant gets stuck in with her acrylics on. It's just a different effect, but there's some bits that will achieve that you can't emulate so well in acrylic. So
oh yeah, it is swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And some of the subtle
I can't do subtle.
yeah, the sort of the way the colours blend in and mix in watercolors is, because I suppose I started with early days with watercolors, and then when I went to acrylics, I spent a lot of time trying to emulate the subtle way that the washes blend in acrylics. Well,
yeah,
they kind of didn't like it much, unless you can use acrylic inks, which will achieve it, will come close. I've used them. I used to use them a lot. I've still got loads of them.
I started with watercolors years and years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gradually all dried up and disappeared, and I sort of went over to acrylics, didn't really bother to go back to watercolor again.
And then he gave me some acrylics, just a box yesterday with full of watercolors and stuff in from her dad.
Yeah,
I found them in the garage, and I thought, woohoo, yeah, eBay, here I come. And I brought them upstairs and opened the box. It was brand new, Cotman watercolors, but like you say, there's about 4 or 5 in there gone hard. So I thought, well, I can't sell a box with 4 missing paints in it.
no.
I'm just utilising that pinky blue mix to see if I can add some. I'm looking at the picture, just really thinking, well, we're going to get some shadows or some hints of some. And just tighten it off. Just put a few in. So my background is looking really nice. I can sense that it sort of heals and stuff. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that.
Yeah, it's all.
As it dries, that's the thing about the watercolors. As they dry back, there's an area here that you could almost say they're the buildings on brown. You see the way they're drying. It's quite funny.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm not gonna screw them up too much. And the blue's going quite well at the top here. And the other colour we want. No, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to dry it off again. Hey, it's like the tree of life, isn't it? ridiculous, isn't it? I'm drying it off and then making it soaking wet again. Going over it. The only way to do it when you're doing layers. So what you're trying to achieve is let you build it up a little bit stronger and add definition, but retain the subtle transparency of the image behind. Otherwise, gives you a sort of nicer depth in the dimension. Lots of theory.
Dogs again, mad again.
You get bored.
Leo, stop it.
Bored. Lie down, Shep. Try and mix up a bit of a reddy colour, which is yellow and the dreaded. Those of you that have red in your palettes can use it. Or orange. I haven't. So I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to mix up a nice pool of that crimson with yellow. See what happens. Here we go then. Anyone? Fortune favours the brave. Or the foolhardy. Harvey. Don't be a fool, Hardy. But anyway, one success story this morning is this brush. I think it's done a really sterling job of just gently layering colour onto the image. I need a bigger brush, Dave. Saying that. And the flat brush down and then bringing it back out again. Bit watery. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner. No, just because we could use it a bit. Yeah, I think maybe a bit of red, but there's no right and wrong anyway, is there, with these sort of things? Sunset is cool. Funny thing is, I'm thinking, cool, wish I was using acrylic right now. No, I don't. I'm only joking. I'm fine.
I was wishing you picked another picture.
Yeah, I can see this all going horribly wrong, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And pick out some. If you that purpley colour that I started off in the palette early, that I was using for the background hills, you can use just while it's damp and put a few strokes of it in, and that'll give you those clouds in the background. Dollop of red, and then add some of that, the blue on top of it. Oops, I just dropped my brush somewhere. I don't know where it's gone. Oh dear. It's a comedy of errors, this. I'll just add a bit of it onto that red. It's a bit darker over there. Make up a few and doodah bits. But just don't need much of it. Just a few bits of that bluey bit, blue, purple, crimson and blue mixed. It's quite nice for just dab it in and away comes. Just get a few cloudy areas. As I say, nice bit of red might have helped, but and then it's a good exercise this, because you're going to have to think on your feet about where you want to lift paint off, because there's an area here obviously where the sun's going down. I don't want to, that's going to be really brighter, so you're going to have to control the water and lift it off. Just a clean brush, damp brush, and just lift it off. And if you find some of your clouds, or this sort of cloudy areas, do the same there. If you think it's too strong, you can just lift a bit off, and while it's wet, the water will fill in the gap. So you can have some great fun deciding where you want your clouds or the highlights of the clouds to turn up. Oh, quite pleased with this now. I was a bit worried really. Obviously there's going to be a reflection of that white bit here along here, so I'm going to try and lift some of that out. These brushes, they're Rosemary & Co. evergreen ones. I keep saying I use these nearly all the time now, and they're oil brushes. They're not watercolor brushes. They have a stiffness. I bit me lip. A stiffness. They have a stiffness about them that's really good for lifting off bits of color. The flat one and this round one. Yeah, quite pleased with that. The way it lifts it off. Just drag it over the paper and dab it on a bit of tissue. Very good. And the might mix up a bit more of the oh, maybe not. The red's decided it wants to go and live in another part of the palette. Let's wipe that bit off. Going to mix up a little bit more of that crimson and blue. I hardly touched the crimson. I've got enough there to paint the outside of the house. Just add a bit more blue. Try and, that's a shadow tone. So I'm going to dry it off again. I think, well, maybe the early lunch is looking a bit dodgy now. Dark territory now. The beauty is I can still see where the tree was. I think I drew the pencil line stronger than I normally would anyway, but maybe that's true. Some of the pencils that I use are harder and tough. They react different to the paper. Some of them, it's worth trying it actually with a pencil sort of just put a little line, draw a little line in it and try and rub it out. See what happens. Some pencils are fun. Go off sketching away, and then you finish the painting, you get a putty rubber, try and, you know, rub off any really nasty pencil marks, and they won't move. They won't budge. And some pencils are beautiful. They just go, you know, obviously they use different components in it. Right, next step. I'm going to go. I'm going to use a. I'm going to use two, but well, including that big wash brush, 3 brushes. That's this 1-inch flat one, which I'm now going to use again. I just want to make that background. Now my hands stop shaking. I'm warmed up now. Bit like a surgeon, never have the first operation. Always go in 3rd or 4th down the line. Once he's warmed up, you're all right. You know, after that 4th cup of coffee. So all that was, I've just put clean water. I don't know where I got that from. Sorry, any surgeons watching. Get sued by then.
Yeah.
Imagine watching it and say, I remember you, I watched your video. Been waiting for you to turn up.
As he puts his hands in the ice bucket.
Well, I'm just, what I've done is mixed up a bit more of that shadowy colour, and I just want to, Gordon's stimulated it now by saying there's houses in the background, but I just wanted to make it look a bit more, a little bit darker, I think. It's also a darker area just around there. But I think it's one of those things that you can pick up later, because we're doing it in layers anyway. So once it's dry, and the thing is, just what I can work out using painting in layers, I've said it a million times now, stick with the same basic colors. So once you've done your first set of washes, don't introduce a new strong color. So that's when things start going muddy and all over the shop, and you lose it. The colors that I'm using here, as far as are all of the same ilk. They're all at, there's only 3 colors. Blue, there's 3 primary colors really, yellow, red and blue. Okay, variations of it. So putting layers of those on top of each other isn't going to do. You're only changing the hue of the layer that you've put on before. So you should be fine. Later on, you can use a rigger or something and add in more little nuances of darks on the water here, and tried to do it there, but it's not damp. And I think this paper's got a few issues. I know I say that often enough, but I think it's been lying around, and some of it, parts of it are soaking up. It might have been lying on something or resting on something, but I can see a slight distinct line there, which I'll have to address at some point. Right then, what's next? Well, the dreaded tree, I suppose. So what is it? I think what else in my palette over here, I've got some indigo. Actually, I've got quite a lot of indigo, as it happens. I've got 1, 2.
I don't think you'll need that much.
I think there's 3 tubes of it here floating around. And being indigo, it is seriously strong colour. Oops, a little bit comes out, so don't mess with it. Well, be discerning. Yeah, that's a good word, Dave. I like that one. Be discerning with it. So anyway, sticking with my theory for the morning, I'm going to add some more of the crimson and a little bit of the blue, ordinary blue. That's pretty dark. And see how I get on with that first. I'm going to use the crimson as a serious dark bit at the end, you know, I just want to see how it goes, because being watercolor, we know how things have a habit of drying back. I think my eyesight's going here. No, it's not too bad. When I first put that wash on, it must be the light. It looked like brown. But it's not, I can show you. This is still stuck with that brush, with the ever green oil brush. So this is true acrylic technique now. Painting over the top of everything. Yeah, I think I'm going to get away with this. But it's still going to be a layered event. Because it's being watercolor, it's going to dry back. And I'm going to have to add the indigo over the top of it. So today's theme, folks, is layers. Don't know where they. Well, I didn't make that up actually, because the theme, I could sense it earlier on this morning, or yesterday. I was looking at it and thinking, how the heck am I going to do this? Instant thought in my head was layers. Do a bit, dry it, do a bit, or let it dry, and carry on like that. It's fascinating doing these pictures though, because you never get the sense of perspective, proportions, and depth until you start getting to this sort of stage now where you just put in some real darker bits in. I can still see the twiggy bits of my tree, so I'm just using the rigger to flick those out. I've got my method of doing the rigger is to start on a known bit, an existing bit, and then lightly go away from it. The reason is if you start at the top, you're going to get a thick blob straight away, and invariably these twigs are winding off into thinness. Quite impressed with the way I'm just doing that, stood up with one hand. Well, I'm just following the lines that I put on right from the start, from the old get-go. Get-go, the old get-go. Missed a bit. Missed a twig. Well, only reason I mentioned that is because because I mentioned about the rubber, and some pencil lines don't rub out and some do. And I'm 100% sure that the ones that I can see on here are going to be the ones that won't rub out. So, but it doesn't matter, because we've got plenty of the really nice dark. I thought I did. What did, oh yeah, here. This and the indigo that I'm going to put on anyway. This takes me back to when I was at secondary school. There was the art teacher, I can't remember his name now, began with W, Mr. Whittam or Wilfred or something like that. And one of his exercises one day was, I can't even remember it, was painting a sort of silhouette and industrial buildings he used in the background. They were all black and it was very akin to this. Amazing, isn't it? And I remember at the time he did one to sort of demonstrate what you should be doing. And I remember looking at it thinking, cool, that is just amazing how he did it so quickly and just dark, you know, 2 colours almost. Well, we're going to add a 3rd colour now. We're not fair. Bit of indigo. See what happens, shall we? Well, I've set the scene with the dark blue and using a mix of blue and the, keep calling it pink, but it's not, it's crimson, isn't it? Dark crimson. And now it's just a matter of having a bit of fun with indigo. The St. Petersburg paints have got indigo in it. Carol?
Yeah, I know. So we'll be able to use that. And Pauline, you've got it in yours, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, I got it as well.
There is around, but if you haven't got it, you can utilize black. I know they all don't advocate using black in watercolors, but it is, you can use black and mix blue in. If you want to get another option for not going very well, hopefully it'll dry back nice. I think I'll just put some no, I'm just going to use my a fan brush to push
Can you put the heating on?
to push the edge of the foreground up to make it look grasses. That was my plan right from early on. Loving it, loving it. Get that nice brush again. And one thing I did forget to do, I don't think I can get away with it now, was to paint a layer of the yellow on top of the tree. I won't get away with it now, but layers. That's what today's all about. Layers. Thick branches are all right with a wide brush, but them thin ones demand a rigor. But I'd say layers is the key, and the only way you can do it is do some, let it dry, then go back over it with the darker, bit of the sepia. It's a sit down job really, and carefully go over and build up our foliage on the tree. Foliage, branches even. There's the other, there's, yeah, but no branches. There wouldn't be foliage without branches. What are we on about? I don't know. Keep going. And yeah, now my boat, I think I'll start off. I think I might, okay, I forgot the yellow on the tree. So what I'm going to do, yeah, why not? I'm going to sit down for this. Try not to stick my hand over all the wet paint. I'm going to paint the side of my boat yellow, that side and that side. Maybe that inside bit yellow, just to say that I have got some bright areas. Yep, loving it. Almost to the stage. Now I'm just gonna, this is down to personal preference and the mood that you're in. I'm just going to add some green. Remember I've got Viridian and Sap Green in there. I'm going to add that. A bit too much water, but and a little bit of the crimson into it to give me a dark. But it's still within the theme of the painting that I've been working on. And I'm going to get a little bit of that rubbish paper. Put the boats in and just quickly have a look, just dab it up and down a bit, see what I get. What I'm doing is taking the harshness of the water off, and then I'm just gonna looking at my reference image. I don't know why, I just thought, although it's got the purple in it, with the rose, a hint of green might be quite nice when it dries back. Come on, this is just pure indulgence now. There's no pressure on you to get the right amount of foliage. All you got to do is incorporate some foliage in amongst those branches. Maybe not. Da, da, da. Do it. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier about ladies' hairdos and the shape of the tree. Once you've got that in your, that sort of image in your psyche, trees never look the same again. Well, that tree's got a bun. Yeah, it's quite funny. But it is true. Well, when they're in bloom. But no, that's not true either. Even when it's winter, they still form that sort of shape. If you look at it, I just think it's a brilliant analogy if you wanted to pursue it. It's a bit like my early days when I was doing figures. I was painting. It's not. I've got another brush here that's a Terry Harrison, and he calls this one a golden wizard. Wow, fair play to you. I just think any brush that can add little bits of, I'm still topping up the green and crimson mix here, but if you've got a piece of paper next to you, dab it on it just to take the edge off the brush, and away you go. Some of my spottings looking a bit dead straight. That's the only reason I've changed brush. Just looking for one that doesn't give us a straight. Blimey, all my paints, everything's drying up here. Go on. Yeah, even the palette must be warmer enough. I thought I'd keep running around saying I'm freezing. maybe not. Yeah, right. It's starting to look a bit contemporary, this. Did cross my mind earlier on that it's got a sort of contemporary, abstractly type feel. Come on, Joyce. Over to you, Joyce.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely, Dave.
Definitely. I'm not doing very well with this. Well, it's okay, but I wanted it to be better. Yeah, I suppose we're all our best critics or ourselves, aren't we? Our worst or best. That's what persuades us to work harder and do more. Look, you can carry on doing this until you get bored, or you think, well, trouble is when you get bored, you start doing things differently. In other words, you veer away from the script, like I'm doing now, by just, I thought, oh, it needs a bit more warmth, so I've just stuck me fan brush into yellow just to add it, but it's still the same yellow, so it's all local color, which is nice. I don't want to go too mad because I'll probably come back at another stage and do more on the tree, make it even blacker by putting when it's dry, then I can, you know, really go in with some sepia, just tighten up some of the trees. And one of the things I'll put my hand up and I'll own up. One of the things I've been doing a lot lately is using watercolor pencils. I've got them in loads of them, so I've just been tidying up, fiddling around with watercolor pencils over the top of quite a lot of the pictures, actually. Fascinating. Yeah, I'm hoping not to lose the boats. Just wanted to keep a little bit of yellow, hint of yellow in them. We know they're boats, sort of. Bit of an exercise in keeping bits of colour, bits of variations of dark, but trying to keep a hint of colour floating around so that you don't lose the fact that it is a blooming boat, because it's easy to do. Always reminds me of Rupert Bear as well, these sort of pictures. They were always a bit like that, like this. Get your Rupert Bear anyway when you've got a minute and have a look at the pictures, the colour ones, and you'll think, oh, and see what he's on about. Yeah.
Don't possess any, sadly.
I've got loads of them. I used to collect them. Rupert Bear annuals.
Used to like them.
Don't think they're very PC now, is it? Like, probably.
Probably not, no.
There's a badger called Blackie, wasn't it? Or something? I think I'm quite happy with this, actually. Sort of the one thing the boats are gonna now I'll tell you what I've got in my pocket. No idea. Keep putting things down and never seeing them again. Are you losing your eyesight? No, I didn't mean that. No. Brush is going everywhere now. Use a bit of colour, shall I? Only because it's all wet. So I'm just going to use a black pen. Miss a bit, do a bit, miss a bit more. Just to put a little mask of the boat on. And I'll add a little bit to the bottom with the river using the bottom of the mask, because they're all thicker at the bottom. Funny, isn't it? If you draw a straight line, even if it was a pencil line, when you come to put the brush against it, you can draw it pretty well. Gives you more more confidence. It's funny, isn't it? Maybe.
Mentioned with indigo.
We love indigo, don't we, Gord?
He's gone again. He's gone again. He was there.
He's in that, look here.
Yeah. He can't get comfy.
What's he? Is it slip disc or?
Probably 2 discs keep moving, and it's gone across to your hip, and I can't sit there. Yeah.
I had some good news. Well, hopefully it's still good. Yesterday, my mum's waited 3 years for a hip operation, and like they ring her up on Thursday and say, right, get ready, you're in on Monday morning.
Oh, brilliant.
Then
Yeah.
Friday afternoon, they say, sorry, cancel.
Oh, no.
8 times they
Oh,
did
no.
that.
Cruel. Well, yeah, that's cruel 8 times.
In a way, it is, isn't it? I was thinking that. I think, you know what, that is bordering on being really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's COVID, isn't it? Everything's COVID, or it has been over the last 2 years. But so, just put a bit of yellow in there, I think, just for a laugh. Maybe not. Didn't work. Luckily with indigo, it's such a strong colour that it'll bleach out anything that moves. I've got one nasty bit here. You might not be able to see it on there, but there's a pencil line here, so might utilise that. Just stuck my hand in a wet patch. That's not far off where I want to be, really. I think the cool, or the main thought for today is, well, for us watercolor guys, is thinking layers. I think I say that at some point over the next afternoon stroke morning, tomorrow morning, I'll just tighten up the trees and put a few extra twiggy bits in and darken the ones that are there, and try and join up some bits that look a bit wonky. Yeah. And it might, I mean, down to personal preference and how you visualize things, but you might want to put some, get a little bit of gouache or something and put some white highlights here and there, especially as the boats, when they dry out, maybe just on the tip of the boat there, just stick like a highlight so the sun or the light from there is shining on there. Food for thought. Just add a bit extra on there. Right, could be yours for a small fee, madam.
There goes the Dorset Coppets man, falling all over the floor. He's. Oh, that's lovely. Dave, that's lovely. Everyone loves the sunset,
Be mellow.
but it wasn't supposed to be a complicated picture today. And I think
Really?
it's. I think, well, there's a few bits that I could tighten, like there. I want to tighten that up. And as it dries off, it'll be fine. Yeah, what's wrong with that? You can knock one of those out in an hour.
Right.
I think there's loads of bits. You can. It's so frustrating with all this art. Like you sort of stand back and look at it, and you think, "Oh, that needs some more work." And just there to disguise the, you know, you walk away and you come back and you think, "Well, that wouldn't be like that. Yeah, I need to make that." And then you do it, and it doesn't look so good. So you think, oh, better dab that out quick. And
then you muck it all up. I do.
Absolutely, yes.
I do,
Right.
and I go back.
Are we off for time?
Nearly 12.
12 o'clock. Nearly.
Yeah,
Oh,
Early lunch.
it's early lunch.
Hang on.
Yeah.
gosh, that looks different.
Wow, yeah.
Looking at that's more like it is. No one
Yeah.
mentioned. Oh, well. No one mentioned that it was a bit washed out.
Well, I said it was mellow.
It's not mellow. It's like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and paint it again just for that.
So is that the real colour? No,
What's that?
is that the real colour of it? Does
Yeah,
it look? Oh, it is. Yeah,
Right.
much darker than we were watching.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
When I looked at the screen,
Yeah.
I thought, shows how much I concentrate because I didn't look at the screen at all. When I looked at it, I thought, well, that's not what I'm painting. Well, that looks a bit. I thought the sun had come through the window. Boom.
Well, there you go.
Well, the end is not quite what happened during. Well, it is what happened during the whole, but the end is slightly darker. Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, I like that. Well,
Good.
Another challenge for us.
it's an exercise. When it dries, you can put more, less. But if you bear that thought of we're painting in layers, do a bit, let it dry or dry it off, stop, come back, and then gradually build up the layers. But I'm pleased that trees business worked.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I'll make him look a bit more robust at some point, but it's really difficult because you want it to dry back really well, and doing it with a hairdryer doesn't do that. It's it does it for instant result, but it doesn't do it justice. I found that last week as well. I found it quite often that, you know, the next day I look at it and I think, oh, and then I start painting and it works better. The paper feels less stressed and it's all dried and sorted itself out. It's a fascinating thing with watercolors, that. I think it's a big get an early bath.
Yes, you're right.
Well,
Yeah, that's nice.
it's good for distance. But I think after last week, I earned a quieter one.
Oh dear.
I was still working on that Dorset coppice boudoir. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. I was thinking, I'll just put a few extra bits. I'll show you all my pencils set.
Where are they? I've got loads of the flipping things. These are the set that I use a lot of. The most ones, they're these ones. And the brand is Brunzil. No, Brinzil. It's blimmin', not Swedish. What's the word? It's Dutch. However you say that. You can buy them in sets. You can buy them individually, which I've done. See, I've still got a few spares that I've added to from Jackson. Sell the singles. That's a good one as well. These are Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. They're good. Always worth. I wouldn't go against buying those. So yeah, but these ones, these Brunzil ones, come in trays. Well, I've bought it in a tray. I think I've only bought 2, so there must be 24. But there is a set of 48. I think it's it's 44 quid for that, but they last a long time. And the other ones were these graph tint ones. I've started using those last week. They're quite handy. But for little things like later on, just looking at this as it is now, if I want to put a highlight on the tree, I can just do it like where the sunshine is there, down one edge. And with these graphic tint ones, they're quite, some of those are quite earthy type colors. What I found is you have to look at the end, this end, because it tells you what the color is. The other end with the pencil bit, it's really difficult to judge it. But they've got some really nice dark ones as well, and lots of grey browny ones and green. They're all ready to paint foliage and trees. What I found handy is you can just scratch away, and the exciting, well, the interesting bit is if you get a damp brush, you can manipulate it. So even though you think that's the end of the story, but you can just shake off your brush and just touch it, and it goes all over the place. Well, that's not the right term. You can manipulate where it goes a little bit just by using damp, clean water, and you get some really lovely effects. It's just an extra string to our bow, especially when you get bits like there at the base of the tree. It's not quite how you want it, so we can add some extra grassy bits or whatever we want and just damp it, just a little brush, and away we go. Chrissy's got acrylic pens that she can use.
Pens.
Just similar sort of, it's like a sort of a breakout mechanism, isn't it? It's sort of a finalizing. It just gives you that option right at the end. Like this one there, I don't know what color that is. It looks bluish to me, but I'm pretty sure that if I wanted to make it into a nice point, I can just tighten up. That's the key word, actually. It's just tightening up. I wouldn't do too much of it. Well, if you do a lot of it, then get the brush, a damp brush, which is something George didn't do very often, and just go over it with a damp brush, because that takes the shiny edge off of it. Because I used to say to George a lot, you look at your picture from an angle with light effect, you can see like glossy sections where you've painted, where you've used the watercolor pencil. They leave a glossy film, but if you damp them, it dissipates straight away. It makes a big difference. Well, it gives you, well, it's an extra piece of ammunition, especially on foliage and buildings and things like that, and hard lines, putting the darks in like we're always doing, which in watercolor is always the last thing we do. We've spent the whole exercise looking at our photo, picking out all the light areas and painting those, and then gradually building another layer for the mid-tony ones, the ones in the background, and then the foregroundy ones, which are always the brighter, the stronger tones, and they're the last ones. And like we're adding darks and really beefing them up a bit. Looking at that, I've still got loads of room to put much more darks. I've been too polite with that. Much too polite. I'll show you what I mean straight away. Much too polite. Much too polite. And especially up here, I've got that indigo, and go for it. But I set the seam with the other colours. That's better.
That looks better. Balances it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's only because I hadn't. Well, it proves what I say, that I never, after about the first 10 minutes, I stopped looking at the reference picture, which is good in a way, because it means that you're painting your own thing, aren't you? You've got a mental image of what's what. Try and maintain the shape of the flipping thing. Ta-da! That's better. That's better.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't such an early lunch after all.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, the finishing touch.
Yeah, looks good.
That'll dry back. Yeah, that'll dry back quite much better, and it gives me more of an option, especially around where the annoying bit for me is there's a branch going right up the middle here. This branch here that is annoying the heck out of me. That is definitely going to get pounced on, and this branch up here, and that they're too light. They need to be brought into play. But hey, I think it's, yeah, while it's damp, while it's so wet at the moment, the picture, it's really difficult to sort of get in amongst it. But it's good to see the different balances though. And I hate something that annoys me is dead straight lines on trees and that. They really they annoy me. It's all right if it's those hazel twigs at the back. Everybody loves them because they do grow tall. these sort of trees, they're not supposed to be like that. Well, not in my mind. They're supposed to have, they have angle bits on them. You know, little junctures.
I've just been looking through my paintings on my phone because this one looked ever so familiar, but it's not the same. That's that one. Don't even see it.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of similar, wasn't it, with the big tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just sort of thought I've done something like that in the past. About 3 years, 4 years ago. Yeah.
where is it? Hang on. Show again.
Oh, I've taken it off now. Hang on. I'm coming. It's coming. Come on.
It's lovely.
Oh, it's can't really.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's,
So it's a blooming sunset, isn't it?
it is. At the end of the day, it's exactly what it is.
Don't matter. Yeah. This is mine, then.
Lovely jubbly.
I think I'll listen to Laurel and Hardy and try it again a little bit later. That's something we've got to do as well, Oliver Hardy. I haven't forgot him.
Okay.
yeah.
We got Kirk. Kirk's coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh yeah, Kirky.
Got Kirk. Don't get in there.
Oh dear.
I'll probably imitate him, but I'm not doing it on camera because I have to talk much louder. I'll reverse it.
Oh, what's that?
That noise.
What's that noise? Like
It's
a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, stop now, whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I heard it as well.
I can't hear no rattlesnakes.
It's gone now.
Oh, nice.
I can't think of what we haven't painted yet when we've done portraits and landscapes and seasons.
We haven't done a cat or a dog, have we?
No,
I don't think.
no.
Not on its own sort of thing.
No, that's true. Or flowers.
I've got the
We got a flower one coming up.
yeah, I've got
Oh,
Pauline.
lovely. What's that then?
I took a picture of those flowers I had behind me last week and sent
Oh,
it
right.
to Dave. So
Oh.
Yeah,
one of my cards had a cat on it. I'm just going to get it and show you.
I keep laughing at the dog walking backwards and forwards.
Yeah, Dyson.
Oh.
I don't expect Dan saw him.
I didn't actually, no.
He was behind you.
Oh, it was my dog, was it?
Yeah, he just walked
Oh,
past him.
that's
Door.
nice.
He follows Gordon around.
Yeah, that's lovely, Pauline.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be quite
wow.
nice one to have a go at. Do you think?
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, no, that's a bit
Yeah.
artistic.
Looks a bit like Zeus.
Oh, right.
What do you think, Dave? What you like?
yeah,
a cat?
I'm up for it. We're up
Yeah.
for that.
We could paint your little puppy, couldn't we? I haven't seen him yet.
He's around here somewhere.
Oh,
Pauline, go and get him.
Yeah,
get
let's
him.
have a look.
Give him a shake.
I haven't seen a live one of him.
Oh, he's gone.
I bet he loves him really, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's disappeared. Has he gone to get him?
Yeah,
I'm assuming so.
I bet he's quite grown a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. Mind you, they don't get that big, do they?
No, what is it? A six?
Is it shih
Shih
tzu? Is
Tzu.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. His mum and sister live down the road because that's
Oh.
where Dave got him from in my road.
Right.
So I
Oh,
often
do
see
they
them.
does she breed them then, does she?
I think she just had one litter and she
Oh,
kept them.
right.
Right.
Here
Oh,
he is.
here he is.
Oh, he has got bigger.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
It's his
He's
birthday.
definitely grown.
It was his birthday yesterday.
Oh,
Big
look at
screen
him.
on. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
His sister's had a haircut, I think.
Yeah, he's having
lovely.
one in the end of the month.
oh yeah, we can paint him, can't we? I'd like to know
Yeah,
how to do all that.
yeah.
He's gorgeous.
Well,
Yeah, because he has his haircut, then we haven't got to do his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Big
lovely.
ball of fluff, isn't he?
Oh,
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
oh, I'd like one like that. It's so-
yeah, I would as well, but I don't want to be picking up the poo when I go out.
You get used to it. It's like when you have children, you can change their nappies, but you can't do somebody else's. You get used to it, Pauline. You don't take any notice.
Definitely.
All right, I believe you.
That's the easy bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are they yappy dogs?
no, he's not too, but he will yap,
Right.
but he's not too bad.
Hmm.
Oh, he's lovely. Oh,
Looking for his toy. We always have a fight.
what's his name?
Frodo.
Frodo.
Rhoda.
Frodo.
Rhoda.
Frodo.
Oh,
He's a hobbit,
he's
king of the hobbits. I think,
Hmm.
oh.
but
Is he fully grown now?
I don't know, he's 8 months old yesterday, so he's not far off, I wouldn't have thought.
I
Right.
bet when you have him cut, he doesn't look so big, does he?
He does think he's safe. You don't realise how tiny he is until
Yeah.
you stick him in the bath or give him a wash or something.
Oh, let's put my big screen on again so I can. Oh, every time I do that, yeah.
Put him down.
I'll put you
You're-
back.
It's gone off.
Hmm.
Whenever
Yeah.
Bored now.
the
Are they cuddly? 'Cause I like dogs that snuggle up to you.
Oh, I bet he is.
they grow up, they grow into that. He doesn't too much. He does with Mum. Yeah, he does with Mel. He sits-
Yeah.
he sits there. With me, he just wants to play tug or kick football.
Oh, yeah. But he knows that's what you do.
Hmm.
Oh, he's lovely.
He is nice.
It's just getting
look-
them trained, isn't it? That's what I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock is his lunch deadline.
Oh, right.
Because I always make my lunch at 12. Sit down and watch. I don't know. Steph's cooked lunch, packed lunch, or Loose Women or something. Have a bite to eat. But I always have to put a little plate with a little bit of cheese and crackers or something, whatever it is. He's gone off crab. Got crab. He was eating it and he's gone off of that.
Hmm.
He wouldn't eat Somerset Brie yesterday. It was only a little tiny bit. He wouldn't give him too much of that stuff. But
wrong, isn't it? Oh.
Hmm.
The dogs like cheese, don't they?
yeah,
Usually.
he didn't like that yesterday. He didn't eat it yesterday. It does smell a bit brie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Hmm.
He wants a bit of cheddar.
Yeah.
He
Best
ate,
handle.
he ate the blue cheese the other day.
Oh,
That's
crikey.
quite strong,
That
isn't it?
was stinky.
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, tell a lie. Mel said he was sick.
Oh.
Oh,
No.
Not the best idea then.
No,
That must
perhaps not.
So how often do you bath him then?
they bath him nearly, well, he gets bathed once a week probably because he goes out and it gets everywhere and his head gets all
Yeah.
matted. But quite often it depends on the weather. If it's raining, it makes a mess.
Yeah.
And Mel puts him in the kitchen sink and cleans all his, because it's all his bottom bit, his flesh.
Yeah.
Need to get some clogs for him really. How well he
Well, he says what he wants.
Yeah, because his hair goes right over his paws, see?
Oh,
Really.
And when you have him cut, you have him cut right back. So it's
Never
really
had it
short.
done. This is
Yeah,
the
Done,
first one.
done.
There's loads of
Done.
different. There's loads of different ways people do it, but I don't know. It's up down to Mel and James how they want it done.
Yeah, because with Bessie, we used to have her cut with all the, what they call the feathers on them and the tail. And in the end, I started cutting her and I thought, oh, I'm just chopping it all off because it just, as you say, it gets so mucky and dirty.
Yeah.
And she hated going in the shower. She hated it. She didn't like the water much.
Well, he's been
oh
out.
well,
So.
I'm off for lunch. How about you lot? I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a
On
good
that-
idea.
Talk of
Right.
food. Yes.
Right. Oh, well,
Yeah.
good luck with your sunset.
Yeah, should be
Awesome.
interesting.
Oh, come on, you're on a high now after the.
Yeah, we can
Ed
do it.
man.
He can do it. The tree will be all right. I can do
Yeah,
that.
it's the rest. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
mind the tree.
I think the main thing is do it in nice stages.
Stages, yeah.
I think the last one I did, you said it looked like a stick of rock because it was colours coming down.
Yes, steer clear of yellow and blue. By that I mean, if you can, hence the reason if you do stages, don't introduce blue onto wet yellow. And if you
Oh
do,
no,
Right, yeah.
hence
Yeah.
the reason the crimson's so important because it acts as a barrier and takes the, I'm going to go green off of the yellow.
so you went yellow first, then the crimson.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be a good thing
Yeah.
to do, would be to
Okay.
stretch your paper and paint the whole flipping thing yellow first.
Yeah.
Let
Right.
it dry and then come
Mm.
back with yellow and the crimson and you'll have great fun.
Right. I hope so.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see.
Anyway, I'm definitely off.
Yeah, I am
Okay.
too.
Right.
All
Thanks,
right.
Dave.
Bye.
Okay, thanks very
See
much.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
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 Bye.